Okay, welcome back to pre-calculus. So we are going to be talking about systems of nonlinear equations today. So first thing it says is graph the system below and then write the equations below. And lest you think, like, hey, I'm never going to have to graph this. These are always too complicated. They're not. It's a very common problem in calculus where you would have a system and you have to figure out like the area between the two curves kind of a thing. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to graph these problems. Okay, so I would definitely recommend practice doing this and get good at doing these kinds of graphs because they really will help you with your spatial reasoning as you go through and you actually get to do some calculus problems. So what I'm going to do with this one is to draw the line. I'm just going to plot 2 points here. If I plug in 0 for y, we get -3. Okay, so if I plug in 0 for x rather, okay, we get -3. And then pick any two other points. Okay, we can pick y equals 0 and solve for that and get x equals 3/2. Okay, I don't think this actually, no, it's not going to do 3/2. I'd have to use a different tool for that. I think this tool right here would do it. Okay, but if I wanted to go ahead and sort that, great, we have we'd have y equals 0, solve for x, so we could plug the 3 will come over and then divide by 2, so we'd have 3/2 comma 0, and then do that. So let's see if we can't do that. So we'll say 3/2 comma 0. So we'll say 3/2, 3/2, 3/2, comma 0. You could use the pencil to do it as well. This is one of those things that you don't have to do this kind of an idea here, but I don't like that. Somewhere we should be -3/2. So I must do negatives. I should have done on paper. Okay, so this is going to be if I plug the 3 over, we're going to get -3/2, -3/2, 2, and then y is going to be 0. Okay, now I'm just using method of intercepts. I'm setting one variable equal to 0 and then setting the other variable equal to 0 and going ahead and doing that. But if I go ahead and put my first point on here, put my second point on here, that's a good way to do it. Okay. The more care, like if your graphs look really nice like this, I'll tell you a secret. I had to take English composition 1 like a half a dozen times, and I'm not kidding you. Okay, it really was that bad. And the last time I took it was I took it at a community college over summertime. I had a really good teacher, but I would use words like beguile because I was studying for the GRE, so I was practicing all of my vocabulary words. He looked at me and said, "Wow, you have a really good vocabulary. You must be an A student." Like, I'm not going to say nothing about like what kind of a student I am for him, because you want to think I'm an A student. Chances are you're gonna grade my marks, so you're gonna grade my papers a little bit higher. I did get an A in that class. I pretty much lived in his office because it was a summertime class, so pretty much every day we had an essay. It was delightful. But because I would tell him in the way my behavior and in my habits and in the way I used different words, I told him like, "Hey, I am an A student. I deserve an A in your class." And we're teachers are human. We will do this, okay? Not on purpose. I try not to do it as much as I can. But if you have good handwriting, if you have neat work, like you have graphs that look like you took the care and time to graph them, you're labeling steps like, hey, using quadratic formula here, hey, using partial decomposition of fractions here. You label those kinds of things. Um, Teachers really will look at that and say, wow, this person is really organized and shows a lot of work. It takes a lot of care and does all of that. Like chances are like there's going to be some unconscious bias that's going to go in your direction. Whereas, and I am not one to talk. Okay, like your handwriting is terrible. Like yes, it is. But if you have bad handwriting and your graphs look a little sloppy, and everybody who attends my face-to-face classes would definitely know my graphs look a little sloppy. Your chance, like implicitly, the teacher's going to grade you down for that. Okay. So enough of me rambling. How would I want to solve this thing? Okay, we have two equations. They both are equal to y. Okay, so the thing about this one, we have negative x squared is equal to, and we'll go ahead and say okay, I'm on. Negative 2x minus 3, so negative 2x minus 3. So we're going to go ahead and, okay, we're going to go ahead and set that equal. I don't like having the negative there, so I'll tell you what we're going to do. We are going to go ahead and multiply both sides of this equation by -1 first. And I'll tell you why I'm doing that. And that's because I know I'm going to bring everything over to the left-hand side. So we have x squared is equal to 2x plus 3. And I know if I wait till later, there's a chance that I'm going to miss one of these negatives. So I'm just trying to get that out of the way soon. Okay. And my next step here is to say, well, when you have a quadratic, when you have almost anything that isn't linear, you want to have 0 on your right-hand side. So we're going to say x squared minus 2x minus 3 equals 0. Okay. Now, if I can factor this, I will. Okay. So this is going to be x minus 3, x plus 1 equals 0, and we could separate that out. If I couldn't factor it, well, what's my alternative? If I have a quadratic that I can't factor, like how could we solve a quadratic? Say, oh, we use quadratic formula. Okay, so we just factored this, x equals 3, x equals -1. Because I graphed it, I'm going to have an idea of like, where the heck is this going to look? Okay, x equals -1, that's going to be over here somewhere. So yeah, we get an intersection here. We also get an intersection x equals -3, and we can plug that in. Okay, so these are the two spots that I want to deal with. These are the two intersection points. You can pick either one of these equations. Okay, in this case, -x squared isn't so bad. Okay, that's not really that hard of an equation to go back to. Okay, but what I would recommend for the most part is pick the line. Okay, but in this case, -x squared is a pretty easy thing to deal with. So when we have x equals 3, we have y equals -3 squared. Y would be -9. When x equals -1, we have y equals -1 squared. We have y equals -1. So my 2 points here are going to be 3, -9. Okay, and then we have -1, -1, and those are my 2 points of intersection that I'm going to pick, and we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, so I'll just write these in here. Say we have 3, -9. Okay, so we have 3. I can take that by 3 here. 3, -9, and then my 3. I don't want that -9. I want this -9. Okay, and then comma. Solutions. I want commas. So this is going to be an issue for you guys when you're going through and doing all of this. Okay, so I apologize for that, but we'll see if we can get it. We aren't. What are we doing here? Oh, we need the or button. Or, okay. So we have 3, -9 here. And it would have worked the same way if we had done it with the line. Yeah, it really wouldn't have mattered. And then -1, -1. You can try them both if you really want to. Okay, and it's okay, but be safer to do it that way. Okay, but -1, -1. Those are my 2 solutions here. So we'll go ahead and click check on this one and see how we did. Okay, so we'll go ahead and say check. We got our green thing, and we'll go on to our next one. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll see if we can't knock the rest of these out. Okay, so very good. I'll see you in the next video.